All right, I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley. That dude.
Yes, sir.
All right, why don't you speak for yourself? The most fearless show in sports. Coming up, we'll tell you if Odell Beckham Jr. has already become a huge distraction in Cleveland. We start today with the NBA Finals. Strength in numbers is the Warriors' greatest strength and greatest weakness. Sounds crazy, but let me explain. Last night, the Warriors put an exclamation point at the end of the slogan that has defined them since Steve Kerr took over as head coach in 2014. In Golden State's 5-point victory in Game 2 of the NBA Finals, it was nearly impossible to name the Warriors' most important or valuable player. Despite injuring his hamstring and sitting out most of the fourth quarter, Klay Thompson led the Warriors in scoring with 25 points. Draymond Green was Draymond Green, posting 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. Boogie Cousins started, played 28 minutes, and recorded 11 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. The Raptors focused seemingly all of their defensive energy on Steph Curry, which allowed Klay, Dre, and Boogie to get easier buckets. And Andre Iguodala knocked down one of the ballsiest game-deciding shots ever. I've never been more impressed by the Warriors than I was last night. In fact, I believe their 2019 playoff run will be what we will remember about the Golden State dynasty. This is a group of hardened champions headed toward their 4th championship in 5 years. They're the Patriots of basketball. The only knock you can make against the Warriors is they have one too many numbers. Kevin Durant. Watching the Warriors win 7 of 8 playoff games since the moment Durant suffered a serious calf injury makes the Warriors feel a bit like Barry Bonds on steroids. In my mind, Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer. He's the greatest slugger in the history of baseball. He went to the needle because everyone else did. But I don't revere Barry the way I do Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, or Babe Ruth. This is not an attack on Durant. It's an attack on the Warriors. They diminished themselves by recruiting Durant. The best team in basketball had no business adding the best offensive player in basketball. Durant is a steroid. He's expected to return for Game 3 or 4 of this series, which means the NBA Finals ended last night. Golden State's loss to Toronto in Game 1 stopped the discussion about whether the Warriors were better without Durant. They're not, but they are more interesting and compelling without KD. Vulnerability is attractive and exciting. Vulnerability makes a competitor dig deeper. That's what we witnessed last night in Toronto. The Durantless Warriors showed a level of grit and toughness that earned a deeper level of respect. They can't get that with Durant on the court. All right, joining the desk now, Fox Sports NBA analyst Jim Jackson and Rick Bucher of Bleacher Report. Marcellus, I'll start with you. Do you respect the Warriors more without Kevin Durant?
No, not at all. Zero-sum game with me. I only respect success. The ultimate respect you get from me is, did you win it? Because there are no guarantees.
Not
no matter
how you win it?
No, hell no. Because you know what's funny? There's this deception out there that if you have a super team, oh, it's guaranteed. But let's just look at the last 20 years. Let's not even go back to Magic and Bird when they had super teams. But since the GM did it, we didn't call it a super team. It was a damn super team. Let's go to the last 20 years when they were actually constructed as super teams. The first one I remember, 04 Lakers. How'd that go? How'd that turn out? When they start adding all that talent. Oh, you could talk about the age or whatever. It was still a super team. Let's go to the Celtics when they had their big three.
Fossils?
Huh?
Some fossils.
Oh, yeah.
Malone,
they had
Gary
the fossils,
Payton.
so then guess what they did?
What?
They actually did a better edition of that. The Celtics in their big three. How'd that turn out? 1 championship. 1. No guarantees, no dynasty, just 1 championship. Then let's go to the Miami Heat and their big three, and that super team. They won half, not all, half. The point is, we're going to now disrespect the Warriors because they have a super team when there are no guarantees that that team will win the championship. I respect success. They win another championship, you got my full respect. Any other way, I'm not even counting it.
I've always respected this Golden State team just because of how they played and how they kind of came together, how they've grown because of where Steph came from. A lot of questions. Think about it. Rick, you understand this. It was some questions whether they were going to re-sign Steph based on his injury history before kind of Klay and Draymond came into the fold. So
let me help you out here.
What?
I got my highlighter out
What?
here.
What you got?
I want to underline, I want to mark up this.
More.
This isn't about no respect. Do you respect
Clear your throat
more?
again, Jimmy.
No, because to me, I respect what they do as an organization and who they are. They've added a piece to the puzzle. Let me tell you something. The asterisk, people always talk about the asterisk because they added Kevin Durant.
Whitlock.
Let me explain something to you. the most storied franchise history in basketball is who?
Celtics.
The Celtics, right?
Celtics.
They won the bulk of their titles when?
60s.
And they only had to compete against 8 other teams. Do we talk about that?
And they had 8 Hall of Famers.
Do we talk about that?
Thank you.
No. But
Houston Rockets won their 2 championships when Michael
Jordan was gone.
And I get it. And that's why we respect Jordan's titles more. And that's why, again, then the Houston Rockets, too. Then even, and again, there's a reason why. Look, if Bill Russell had won 11 titles during this era when there are 30 teams, we would respect him more.
But why do they still hold up Boston as the best? I mean, they always go back to the Celtics, but they forget. No. Yes, they do. They always go back to teams that dominated. It's even like the UCLA teams of the 70s, when there's only 32 teams or whatever, 24 in the NCAA tournament. So they always go back to, remember when they won it here? They hold them to a higher respect. And that's the same thing I'm saying.
No. I think the Boston, it's a nice play, but again, Michael Jordan is more respected.
Thank you.
Is more respected than Bill Russell and that 72-win Chicago team.
That's because it's our era right now.
But you just said Babe Ruth in your Whitlock.
Yeah, you said Babe Ruth.
He didn't get to play against
everybody.
I agree.
So why you put Babe Ruth in there?
So you doing his nice play.
I'm just saying, not on steroids. And this Golden State team is on steroids.
I don't know what's with today.
What?
I have had to listen to Skip discount Kawhi Leonard. I've had to listen to Colin discount this year's championship because of injuries. I'm not even sure where that's exactly. And now I have to hear you disrespect the Warriors and Kevin Durant. Look, you saying I respect them, just not that much. That is a form of disrespect.
Come on, Whit.
No.
Do
you respect the Warriors more without Kevin Durant?
Yes.
And it's like Marcellus sitting there, I don't care how you win.
I don't.
Let's apply that to boxing. The guy that knocks out a guy as opposed to the guy that wins on point, you don't respect the knockout artist more. How you do it matters.
There's no 2 ways to win in basketball. There's only one. Score. Don't try and give me that example. That wasn't even analogous. Move on.
We wouldn't be talking about the Warriors without Kevin Durant. They wouldn't have all the championships that they have without Kevin Durant.
Why?
You look confused. Because he happened to be the Finals MVP the last 2 years. That's why.
You know they won one before he got there.
I know they did. They also lost one.
And they should have won a second one.
Should have.
If Draymond hadn't got
they won one without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, and they lost one without Draymond Green and Andrew Bogut and Andre Iguodala's hamstring. I mean, look,
they won 7 of 8 games without this dude.
Who were they playing?
Yeah, they played Portland.
Why don't they in the NBA Finals? I know who they were playing last night, Toronto, in the NBA Finals.
And Toronto gave that game away. That
they
was there for the taking.
Oh, that's right. Okay. They did. They didn't win it.
No, but here's the thing about Toronto. Think about
you want to talk about disrespecting somebody. You just disrespected the Warriors.
The Warriors left
they didn't win it. They
gave after Raptor wide open. The Raptors did not get back on defense as a result of missing shots. So the Raptors had every opportunity to win that game last night.
And they lost it. Because Andre Iguodala has the biggest pair going.
No. Hold on, wait.
No, I got to get to this. We're talking about the ballsiest shot. That was the most boneheaded shot you could possibly take.
Go.
There, with the clock where it was. No,
I get
you
it.
don't give Toronto another opportunity. He made it so everybody goes, that's an amazing shot. If he misses it, it's a long rebound going the other way. We're playing overtime in Toronto with the Raptors. It was a dumb shot. If you run the clock out, you take it at the last second. If it catches rim and goes up in the air, by the time it comes down and you get that rebound, the game is over. You haven't given Toronto an opportunity. He gave them an opportunity.
I'm disrespecting the Warriors, but you just dumped on one of the greatest shots we've ever seen in the NBA Finals history.
It wasn't one of the greatest shots. It was a shot.
Now, what you had to say, Jimmy, before?
No, this was what I was going to say before. I'm going to get back to that look.
I'm disrespecting him. But y'all listen.
I'm not saying it's one of the greatest shots. I think it's a clutch shot, and one of the greatest. I said this from the beginning of the series, whether Kevin Durant played or not, okay? If Kevin Durant plays, and you got to look at it from this perspective. Kevin Durant and Kawhi canceled each other out. The second, third, fourth best players where? Golden State. Compared to Toronto.
Yeah.
Take him out. Do the same thing with Steph and Kawhi. Cancel each other out. The second and third best players where? Golden State. At the end of the day, that's how you win games, and that's who steps up. Are you going to really rely on Siakam and Gasol to really play like they played in Game 1? You know where Clay, you know where Steph, you know exactly where Draymond is going to be in this series. So to me, it's not a surprise, it's not a disrespect. I expected Golden State to be able to go in Toronto and win one game because they have the second, third best players on their team.
Yeah, the thing I really have an issue with, grander than this conversation, is really the thesis of what you're saying, which is roster construction can actually be used against you. When millions of dollars are poured into scouting, millions of dollars are poured upstairs in management to build the best and most powerful roster. But then there's a tipping point where actually that's going to be deemed to undermine your respect, and some are going to put an asterisk by your success. Look, I've been on teams that had multiple All-Pros. On paper, we should have done some things. It is so difficult when you get out there and have to go through the rigors to win it. And then you find lesser teams in my sport, the Patriots, in terms of pure talent, that win it. So when we see it in basketball, too many examples of pure talented on-paper teams that don't win it. Collegiate level, Duke, Kentucky, they don't win it every year, but they're loaded and stacked. I don't disrespect
Can we take a moment just to salute the Golden State Warriors scouting department for discovering Kevin Durant? I mean,
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Amazing.
I knew that was
The
coming.
capologist made it work. He made it work.
Look, roster construction does matter. When you win 73 games, should have won the championship, you've already got a championship in pocket. And again, it was Richard Jefferson who said it best. And he's accurate. He took some heat for it. They should have ran the game. They should have run it back. Let's run it back. Why go out and get Kevin Durant? It's a weak move on Golden State's part. And again, it looks weaker now because I'm like, whoa, if they had just added a good player rather than the very best player, they would have been title contenders and, in my mind, would have been in the same position, in position to win 4 or 5 titles in 5 years. Again, I'm not remotely knocking Durant. They went out and recruited him and begged him to come and play. But they diminished themselves in the process.
A three-peat is not weak. How you going there, bro?
Are you seeing what the Warriors are right now?
Yeah, scrappy.
Struggling.
And walking wounded.
Yeah. I get it. It's beautiful to watch.
If you didn't have KD all year long, do you think that Andre Iguodala wouldn't have hit this wall sooner? Do you think that Kevon Looney and Klay Thompson and all these guys that you've been riding these horses, that if you never had KD, that you would have, without the ability to, and let's
don't pretend like no one replaces KD in that salary slot. Maybe they have 2 more players very good rather than Kevin Durant. But
is it going to be the best player in the game?
No,
arguably right now.
No, and it shouldn't be. That's my argument. It shouldn't be the very best player. They were already the best team. They have the best system. This dude is steroids for them, and it does. I respect them more without KD, and I think others do as well. This is more compelling to watch them fight through all these injuries. And like, my God. And then to see Boogie Cousins come back out of shape and make this kind of contribution. When KD comes back in game 3 or 4, and again, them winning last night, even if he misses game 3 and they lose, as soon as KD steps on the court, this series is over.
Well, look, the ideology, the generational gap really is showing itself right now, where of yesterday, all effort. If you had to go up the hill both ways, you know what? Damn it, I respect you. And then there's a more effective, efficient model that is actually what they were trying to do in your days that they are actually calculating and exercising today, which is get as many good players as you can. And that's a playground mentality. You know what? Man, I don't want the best player. We want to beat you with the homies. No, you know what? If you are on the sideline, I'm grabbing the best player available. That's the mentality.
Marcellus, if you and I were running the Golden State Warriors, you and I, we'd both make the same decision. Let's go get KD.
Let's do this.
I would agree with you there. I'm talking about, though, because we're not employees of Golden State. We're arbiters of how much respect we're going to give these guys for change. Where are we going to place them? And as an arbiter of where they're seen legacy-wise, they diminish themselves by adding steroids.
I just didn't see the discount. On the rings, I didn't see the discounted diamonds. I didn't, like, they all...
You look at Barry Bonds the same as Hank Aaron?
No, I think he's better. I mean, I ain't gonna go there, but you know, respect.
I agree with you.
I'm not
I
talking
think
about,
he's better, but
okay.
I got more respect for Hank Aaron.
More
It's
respect
just,
for the lesser player. Okay.
Yeah.
That's real.
We do
Different.
have, if Kevin Durant had simply been a part of this, first of all, my great respect is both to the Warriors, that they were able to make room for a Kevin Durant and find a way to play around him and with him. When you bring in a superstar of that magnitude, that's easier said than done. The chemistry and their ability to do that is impressive. Kevin Durant finding a way to fit in with the Warriors.
Yeah.
I compliment both sides in doing that. If he weren't the finals MVP of the last 2 championships, I might be able to go your way. And if you told me who those 2 other good players versus a great player who can get his shot anytime I need it.
Y'all never kids. Were you ever kids and just competed on the playground?
Sure.
I'm going to give you the great example. This is a real life example. I beat up a kid my age. He went and got his big brother, and his big brother whooped my ass.
Okay.
I don't have any respect for that. I took the L. I just don't have any respect for it. It was a fair fight. I took on the fight. His big brother came. He whooped my ass. I don't have any respect for that. I've seen guys, you compete against them in playground basketball, and then they go get some dude that's 2 years older to come play with them and run around like, oh, look what we did. You cheated.
Whitlock, no, let me get this. We're going to stay with Baby Whitlock. You remember that? Baby flat top. I want Baby Whitlock. You remember, this is how every team was constructed on the playground. All right, who's going to be captain? Get to the free throw line. First 2 that make it, captains. Yeah. Guess what you do when you're a captain? Who the best player? Yeah. Bam. And then you pick, yeah, damn, I wanted him. Okay, I got him. You never said, you know what, we got enough good ones. You know what, let's get a couple of the max kind of fringe players. You want the best available, and the respect still came your way.
I think the issue is this. We're all older, so we grew up a lot differently. We see things different. So we'll never be able to wrap our arms around why a Golden State of Kevin Durant does this. But I always go back to this. The young people who will be writing the narrative 15, 20 years from now grew up in this era. So they'll see things differently how they saw it at this time. So how we see it today, and a lot of people hate it, can't stand it. Again, how the story is written by these young people 15, 20 years from now, it's going to look totally different because they accepted the fact that that's the way the league was trending to be.
On the other hand, the new version is that we look at this as fantasy basketball. We look at this as, okay, so you have a championship team and you add a Kevin Durant. Oh, that's unfair. That's too loaded. It doesn't take into account chemistry. It doesn't take into account what we had last night, which is you don't have those pieces, and you need a Quinn Cook, and you need a DeMarcus Cousins, and you need all sorts of guys that are adding in. Now, in the big picture, we just look at it and say, oh, well, they've won. They're going to win 3 in a row. They won 4 out of the last 5. It was easy.
Yep.
I just had this conversation with Andre Iguodala. He said that's what drives them crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody thinks, oh, it's easy. He goes, if you knew all the things that we've had to go through to make this work, getting DeMarcus Cousins to be himself and then at times not be himself, settling things between KD and Draymond or dealing with the noise on the outside.
Rick.
It's not easy.
Or easier.
Rick, y'all keep moving the goalposts. Y'all are great at moving the goalposts. Y'all strong. Y'all moving the goalposts around. Easy. No, the argument, easier.
Easier.
And I argue, no championship is easy.
Preach.
No championship
you keep going
is easy.
easy. This is easier. And Jim, this is, my point is, y'all are like, oh, I'm not arguing it's unfair. The rules stipulate that they can do this.
Let me ask you this.
I'm not arguing that, oh my God, they're terrible. The thing I'm arguing is, I respect what some other teams did just a teeny bit more, and if they had gone about it without Kevin Durant, and I got to see more of what I saw last night, I would add an additional layer of respect. Do I respect Golden State? Absolutely. I would have more.
You respect the Mavericks more than this dynasty we're watching?
Ooh, yeah.
Let me
What? You said dynasty versus Dallas, and so
okay, well,
I would have to answer it differently. Do I respect Dallas's one title more than
last
year? Absolutely, without question. Without
you are
question.
by yourself.
Without question, that was much more difficult.
So they dissed the Heat more than they gave props to the Mavs in that one. But
so let's say that the Warriors only won one championship. They didn't win the last two. Right. They went to the finals, but they didn't win. Would you respect them more because they were runner-ups without KD than what they accomplished with the Finals MVP?
I just want you to, you're introducing a hypothetical that I don't agree with. I believe without KD, they would have won the last two titles. And so I believe they would have had an additional player or two, and they would have beaten those LeBron James Cavaliers teams. That's what I believe.
Okay, but let's say that they didn't.
Let's
say that they nobly fought the fight without KD.
Because Cleveland would have won, and now LeBron would be sitting there with 2 more titles, and what would that make him have 5? And so we would right now be talking about LeBron and the Cavaliers.
So the Warriors did what was necessary in order to win 2 more titles. That's the only way I can define it, right?
In your opinion. I don't think it was necessary. That's the argument. I don't think it was necessary. I don't think they needed to add KD. They should have run it back exactly like Richard Jefferson said. It's a great little competition. Draymond messed up. Let's run this back. I think we can get you next year. We're going to add an additional player, not the best offensive player in basketball, and we'll run it back.
And what team was Richard on?
Which team was what?
Richard Jefferson on? Cleveland, right? Yeah. He wanted him to run it back the same way. He didn't want him to run it back the other way.
That's what competitors do.
No, competitors also say no matter who you got, I'm going to beat you. That's what competitors do, because you can't sit there in the offseason and say, oh, that's unfair. You sit there in the offseason and get ready for whoever rolls out on that court. So it sounds like Richard wanted it a little easier so that he can go out there and have a fair chance.
You get in a great fight. It's like Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. They fought 3 times. It was all 3 of them were great. They kept running it back, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No one went to steroids, and that's what Kevin Durant is.
Not a
steroid. Time now for a big story. Let's move to Houston, where the Rockets are already planning to make big changes to the roster, but could have a coaching change on the horizon as well after Mike D'Antoni cut off his talks with the team over a new deal, opting to coach out the final season of his contract. The Rockets decided to announce that they had offered D'Antoni $5 million per year, but now D'Antoni's agent claims that the deal actually guaranteed less money than what some first-time coaches are paid. Someone help me understand why the Rockets just won't fire Mike D'Antoni.
Oh, it's easy. I wouldn't fire him. I mean, learn from your own franchise in the 90s when Jordan decided to retire, and that led to the success in their 2 championships. The landscape's going to look different next year. We don't know what KD's going to do. We don't know what Kawhi's going to do. Things are going to flip, just like they flipped this year when LeBron came west. So
you don't know what D'Antoni's going to do?
No, I don't know what the landscape's going to look like in terms of competition. D'Antoni needs 2 things to change. One is defensively, or how they approach the game, and isolation offensively. They need to change that. 2, they just need different results. They need to get out of the Golden State loss in the conference finals or second round. They need to find a way there. But they could be helped and assisted in that by seeing the landscape shift. So keep them as a lame duck, see how that plays out, see what the competition looks like, and then you handle it.
Lame duck coach.
Yeah. For this situation, yes.
Toronto Raptors, where they've been the last few years prior to this year. They couldn't get past LeBron, couldn't get past Cleveland. Now, boom, LeBron leaves. Yep. Suddenly the gateway opens, and there they are.
Oh, Toronto doesn't have a new coach. This isn't the first-year coach.
No, you're gonna credit all this? I mean,
they fired their coach.
I'm just saying. Well, but I wouldn't say that the coaching change was the reason that they are where they are. I would say as much Kawhi Leonard for DeMar DeRozan has a hand in that, and LeBron not being there, Cleveland not being there.
Yeah.
So
Casey
it does change.
Isn't there?
This is my this is my
coach
thing.
Of the year.
Yeah. I mean,
that's why I didn't use that example. I knew you was going to come with, you had some ammo on that one, but no.
This is my thing, is when I look at James Harden, has become arguably the best offensive weapon that we know in the game. Mike D'Antoni is responsible.
Stop it. Kevin Durant's still in this league, and I've just heard you call him the best player. It can't be 2 of them, so stop.
Okay, I said, did I say one of them?
Arguably. Yeah, one of these.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Come on, Whitlock.
Come on, man.
Get out the weeds.
He's real semantics right now, but the issue has always been with me with philosophy of Mike D'Antoni. I mean, now you take the analytics aspect of it, you combine that with the guy that Mike D'Antoni that avoids any kind of confrontation, that doesn't correct, I think, the real simple corrections you need defensively philosophy during the course of the season that come back to bite you in a 7-game series against a team like Golden State. When you're better than a team, you can get away with stuff. But when the team you're playing against has just as much talent and is more disciplined, then your flaws are going to show up. And that's what happens with Mike D'Antoni. Right now, Houston is in a precarious situation because if you fire him now, who are you going to get? Okay, is it Jeff Bezdelek? You going to allow him to take over? More of a defensive-minded player, but he's not hitting the analytical stuff that you're looking for offensively. So they're in that in-between state. And I agree with both of you from this standpoint. The landscape may look different.
Right.
Coaches may be more available next year, some more options. So if you make the move right now, you're so late into this season part of it, what good is it going to do?
You're going to go into the season with a coach who's mad at you because he knows you don't really want him there. You've offered him a BS contract. Why go into the season with a lame duck coach? And, Rick, let me ask you this. Remember, there's NBA executives watching it, and you look like you could be an executive, but the stuff coming out of your mouth, no NBA owner listening to you right now would think. Because let me tell you what Rick's game plan is. Well, the West is going to get worse. So we're going to wait for everybody to get worse.
It worked this year for the East.
No, it didn't.
Oh, it
Toronto
didn't?
went out and attacked their problems. They went and got Kawhi, and they changed.
That's in coincidence.
No. That's them
That
getting
in coincidence.
better. That's them choosing to
Let
get
LeBron
better.
still be in the
Not
East.
sitting there going, oh.
Let LeBron still be in the East, and they saw Toronto.
Hopefully the West will get worse, and Mike D'Antoni will be good enough.
He has the
That's not a game plan.
third highest win percentage in the playoffs, but behind who? The Cavs and the Warriors. You do not say, bye, coach. You say, prove it, coach, and that's a lame duck year for him.
If Chris Paul doesn't have the hamstring a year ago, are we even having this conversation about Mike D'Antoni?
Yes, we are, because that's some BS, and we've seen that proven because Kevin Durant got hurt, and the Warriors still took care of Houston. So don't give me this. If Chris Paul very capable of doing exactly what he did this year in game 6 or 7 or whatever games he missed last year, that's no guarantee. Chris Paul ain't Isaiah Thomas. He ain't Michael Jordan. Chris Paul got exposed.
This is my point. Mike D'Antoni led them to the best record.
Yep.
They had a Game 7 on their home floor. They played the champions tooth and nail to the end. They lose Chris Paul, and Andre Iguodala comes back. It's a special set of circumstances. I can't just look at what they did this year and what happened this year when you changed out the roster, when you didn't have Jeff Bezdelek for half of the season. There were influences. Do some things need to change? Do you need to have a defensive coach on that bench?
Right.
Do you need somebody who's going to provide the confrontation that Mike doesn't? I agree with all that. But if you are going to get rid of Mike D'Antoni, then go ahead and move James Harden too. Because I can't look at the evolution of James Harden and not give Mike D'Antoni credit for that.
The problem is they're sitting around, oh, well, how's this going to affect James? So James likes it when there's no coaching. He can just sit out there and ISO and do whatever the hell he wants. It's a Russell Westbrook situation. This is an older Billy Donovan right now. And Billy Donovan was a hell of a college coach, but he's not much in the NBA where these players have so much power and control. And when you're non-confrontational with these athletes that have millions and $30 million a year contracts that will bully the hell out of you, doesn't work.
The easy part, though, is firing.
Exactly.
I need to know who's coming in, who's going to make it better. If you told me there was a guy sitting out there that would have the answer, then I'm willing to listen, because I do think that it's
Daryl Morey's job to find the answer. That's what they're paying him for. And offering a guy half the money that you say you are, you're already hey, man, we really don't believe in you. And he's pissed off about it and has his agent talking about it. So show me where an angry Mike D'Antoni who didn't win it in Phoenix, didn't win it in New York, and ain't won it in Houston. But let's keep giving him opportunity.
You may have answered your own problem. You just said that a guy is non-confrontational. An angry D'Antoni might give you exactly the sauce you need. On top of the simple understanding of this situation is you're playing through the Jordan years, except it's not one player, it's the dynastic Warriors years. Don't change your team the other 29 because Jordan's there. You got to either find a way to get the steroid or you got to find a way to just hope.
Agree with me.
Yeah, I just got to give you a little love. Change it up.
Coming up, Whitlock and Wiley joined now by former Pro Bowler DeQuell Jackson. Let's move to the NFL. where negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement are underway, and reportedly, one big topic of discussion between the league and the players will be extending the season to 18 games, a proposal that the owners have brought up in the past, but the NFLPA has always resisted over concerns about player safety. All right, gentlemen, you guys played in the NFL.
Yes.
18 games, good idea, bad idea?
Let's vote. Yay. Look at your hand went up. You was like, no, I knew I was going to catch you. Oh, I'm all in with this disclaimer. It has to be real present value. It has to be dollar for dollar value in terms of regular season compensation. So right now our schedule is split 16-4. 4 preseason games, 16 regular season games over 17 weeks. If you are to make this proposal, all I want is the real present value. What does that mean? If I'm on a 1-year, $16 million deal, that has now turned into a 1-year, $18 million deal because I'm playing 2 more games and I get paid $1 million per regular season game. If I'm a baller, the top end of the game, 1 year 32 just turned into 1 year 36. I do not need to go out there in meaningless preseason games. The college football season has no preseason games, so I'm going to give you 2. But in return, you're going to give me 2 at the regular season value. Now, there's going to be a sticking point because the NFLPA should use health, risk, and safety against the NFL because that's been their messaging. Oh, you're going to put them out there for 2 more games? And I know the NFL, because that is their messaging, is going to have to bunker in a little bit. But all things considered, I would certainly play 2 more real games where that's where the fun is and less injury than in the training camps and practices for my day versus going out there and playing 4 preseason games.
Yeah, so you chose the money route, and I'm glad you chose that route. But I'm not for it. I don't want it. Last time I checked, 16 games hurt. And you know, the last time I checked, the NFL dominated Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. Ask current players right now how they feel about the Thursday night games. Most guys will probably tell you it's not good on their bodies. And the older you get, it's that much more difficult to recover from it. But if any discussion is going to happen about extending games, maybe guys will be open to more playoff teams being in the pot versus, you know, adding 2 more regular season games. It's always a topic of the conversation from the owner standpoint. It's always going to be a topic of conversation. I don't think it's going to get approved at all.
I'm against it for the fact 16 games, the games are scarce. You start getting to 18, and it's like, damn. And just like you said, now they damn near play every night of the week.
Yeah.
And it's like, when does this ever stop? And does the game become less valuable because there's more games? The 16-game schedule makes it unique from and look, 18 would still be unique from the NBA and Major League Baseball, but here's the only way I would go for it. Because, again, the 18-game regular season schedule is going to increase the salary cap. There's just no question about it.
Right.
And they're going to ask, and the players are going to ask for, I think they get 48% of the revenue. They'll ask for 50.
Sure.
They'll settle at 49 or whatever, 49 and a half. That's real money, blah, blah. But the thing I would ask for, honestly, and I think this would improve football, I would go ahead and go with the 18 games, but I would limit all the players to participating in 16 of them.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, no.
New wrinkle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not for that.
No,
that
not at all.
complicates things because now.
You still get your pay. You still get your 18-game pay, but you're only allowed to play in 16.
So you're
I love the
so when you
strategy.
lose Tom Brady for 2 games, you really watching those 2 games?
Yeah.
That's going
Exactly.
to compromise the
If
salary
I'm an
cap.
owner, I'm paying Tom Brady. I need you for every
18.
game you're available.
Yeah.
So you don't get to pick and choose.
No, and
not a chance.
Here's 2 things I push back with why you should look at it just for the money aspect. One, there are 3 tiers to our scheduling in terms of preseason, regular season, and if you're lucky enough, postseason, correct?
Right.
Preseason, you get the least amount of money. I mean, it's thousands of dollars. Not laughing at any money, but that's nothing compared to the regular season. That's where you get your money. Then the postseason, they roll out $20,000 a game or something like that. Peanuts compared to what you just went through. Right. But it's a high stakes, high intensity game. So what I'm trying to do is collect that pool for the regular season money. That's why I'm in favor of this. And you use it in terms of guaranteed health benefits, guaranteed retirement benefits. Hey, we're putting more wear and tear on our bodies. We're also collecting a little more money in the regular season, and we're also going to collect those benefits post-career. To me, that's the best of both worlds, and it's an advantage.
Yeah, I just don't see the players agreeing to adding more regular season games without cutting a preseason game.
Oh, no, they're going to do that.
Yeah, right, because you'll have a community of guys that say, you know what about those late draft picks, undrafted guys with the ability to make a football team, and they need that preseason. Honestly, as a veteran, I hated the preseason. You didn't play much, and it was a chance for young guys to make the team. I get the financial point. If that's going to increase your revenue, increase your contract, and the owners agree to it, yeah, but what are we really talking about? $1 million of a $2 million. Are we going to? Is it really worth the risk?
Are you going to push back on the plan because of a late round draft choice? Look, I'm not.
No, absolutely not.
Look,
absolutely.
If you were a low star recruit,
absolutely not.
That's on you, bro. You got 2 practices to make this squad or else. Look, if you got drafted,
Tom Brady hadn't made it because there was no preseason.
You know what? You would not miss what you don't have. You would not know what this was. So look, he would have found a way somehow, some way, because I believe in his greatness. That said, I'm not going to throw away this situation because, I really need 2 more weeks to get the 7th rounder some looks. If you're a true evaluator, how long does it take for
I'd rather see it in the postseason. Add more playoff teams to the postseason opposed to the regular season. The regular season is just like, okay, by that time you've already established who's won your division.
The other thing that I think happens in an 18 game, and I don't know how y'all would feel about this, but I would be pushing for them to expand the rosters, which is going to cut down a little bit how the money gets spread out.
Yeah.
But if I was playing 18 games and I'm a player, I want 5 more guys on the roster.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to expand the postseason number of teams because then it waters down the regular season because you're going to have lesser records that qualify, right? So I like it right now. There's 32 teams, 12 of you guys make it 20 go home. I don't want all of a sudden teams that could get in there at 7-9 consistently. Okay. Maybe a 6-10 sneaks in there because we have more entrants. In terms of roster numbers, as long as it doesn't take away per person, per capita, how much we're making, bring it on. But it has to be equivalent. And the NFL, with their leverage, I'm not sure if they're going to keep it.
Don't take more money out of my pocket. No, extend the roster.
Whitlock and Wiley, Jim Jackson and DeQuell Jackson, the Jackson brothers. Mike and Tito. I'll let you guess who's who. All right.
Oh, you Tito like a mother.
Time to get antisocial with our man Darnell Smith. Uh-oh, can we get it out of the way, gentlemen? Darnell, what's popping?
Yes, sir. We're going to start off in the boxing ring where it looks like the Drake curse just added a new victim. Former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua took a picture with Drake the day before his fight and ended up getting TKO'd in the 7th round by Andy Ruiz, courtesy of DAZN. Social media was having a field day with this. And even Deontay Wilder chimed in, tweeting, he wasn't a true champion. His whole career was consistent of lies, contradictions, and gifts. Facts. And now we know who was running from who. Hashtag till this day. Joshua was listed a 12-1 favorite to win going into this fight. But do you think Joshua took this fight seriously?
I think he took it seriously, but what he may have discounted is the record of Ruiz. He's only has 1 loss, majority decision, and someone else's home turf. And the shape. You know, at times you can look at somebody's like, how much game could come out of that for real? But he found out the hard way. Like, Ruiz, for all the jokes out there and memes.
A lot of ladies underestimate me tomorrow.
The game of boxing is of skill. It's not of just athletic talent and muscle structure. So the dude has fast. They say he has the fastest hands in the heavyweight division. Forget how how he looks. It's how he's giving them to you. Yeah, he caught a few.
Now, I don't think he took it serious. I think Joshua's body didn't look as tight as it did before. He was tired in the first round, and the boxers know this. If you don't take a fighter serious, all it takes is 1 punch. Now, again, he got knocked down 4 times.
Yeah.
It wasn't like just 1 punch.
Right.
He ain't take it serious.
He got tore up.
No, he definitely didn't take it serious. I mean, he just let the boxing community down. I definitely wanted to see a matchup with him and Deontay Wilder.
That's right.
You know, just 2 giants going at each other's throats. And this here.
You ever thought he's just not that good?
Yeah, thank you. Real boxing people tell you this. Look,
he gets knocked down a lot.
Shout out to Freddie Roach and Mike over there, Wild Card, who told me this. Like, Joshua in the latter rounds lately has been fading. And after the Klitschko fight, when he got knocked down, everybody's like, he's for the taking. And that's why Wilder kept saying, let me get him, because I could get him. So you got to know Joshua's issues, and you got to know that Ruiz is for real. So I think he took him seriously. Just
all right. The Ruiz win is a big win for PBC and Fox all the heavyweight belts now are in the PBC family. We're hoping to have RUIZ right here on Wednesday on Speak for Yourself.
PBC.
All right.
Gangster. PBC.
You know what PBC? All right, y'all. Moving to the NBA Finals. We know Drake has been doing his best to get underneath Golden State's skin. Looks like Klay and KD returned the favor last night. Take a listen.
Hey, come back here straight. Excuse me. See you in the Bay, Aubrey. You weren't talking tonight, were you? Well,
It's okay.
Are the Warriors too focused on Drake?
No.
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 I think they've spotted a simp and are just picking on him.
What?
A simp.
1989. What are you gonna call him?
And I'm gonna tell you why I go all the way back. Because again, people don't change from like 7th grade. Whoever you were in 7th grade, that's who you are today. And so again, Drake wasn't nobody in 7th grade. Again, just think about the people, the singers, dancers, actors, and all that other stuff. They wasn't nobody around the high school yard, junior high yard, and he's still that same guy. And they spotted one.
Man, I mean, I feel you, but I had holes in my Cortezes in the 7th grade.
A little different now, partner.
I feel what you're saying. Look, I don't think they focused on him. I mean, this is the performer who goes out there and just say, he can notice someone in the crowd, he can have some fun back and forth, but he's still doing his job. Like, they handle business. They stole one in Toronto, so now I don't think too far.
It'd be different if they were going back and forth with them while they were on the court playing.
True.
But since it's behind the scenes, you know, in the back, in the tunnel, holler at you real quick, partner.
Right.
We'll see you in Golden State.
And their buddies, and Drake opened himself up to
big
all
time.
of this. So for him to be back in the arena where all those guys are going back into the locker room, he was looking for it.
Yeah.
And those guys were looking for him. You know, they're buddies. So it's all fun.
I hope
It's
Drake
fun
never
competition.
gets locked up. Won't be pretty. Next.
Pushing on to the NFL.
Man, light skin, man, bro.
Oh, man. We go to the NFL, man, where the chairman of the competition committee is hoping to insulate Hail Mary plays from replay review because he believes in those situations, the normal pass interference rules go out the window. Our guy, Tony Dungy, responded to this, tweeting out, "Why should illegal activity be allowed because it's the last play of the game? Don't rules apply all the time? That's ridiculous. Should the NFL let Hail Marys be a free-for-all?"
No.
Yes.
No.
Go. Explain it. No.
No, please.
What have they been the last 50 years?
Kinda, mostly.
But you
it's
said
not by rule.
it's been some calls,
by
though.
Spirit,
By spirit.
but not by rule, yeah.
So now I can just grab you the whole time down the field like that.
That's what they do on the players love.
No, they don't. They let them at least get in the end zone.
That's
And
what
then they
some
have
people
contact
grab
in there.
each other.
Okay, yeah, but if you make this a rule, then all of a sudden you know what you're going to see. You're going to see felonies committed on assault and battery.
Exactly.
No, I'm with Tony Dungy.
bro.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I agree with Tony. You have to officiate it all the same because it can get egregious. If you're allowing the defensive player to grab and hold and do whatever you need to do, then okay, we'll see how that turns out.
Odell, Josh Norman, every play. A Hail Mary.
Not him. Dude, I knew it.
Let's stay in the NFL. The Detroit Lions have made it known that they want to reestablish a relationship with their former superstar receiver, Calvin Johnson. But when Megatron was asked about rekindling their relationship, he responded saying, "They already know what they got to do. The only way they're going to get me back is if they put that money back in my pocket." Twitter was all over this and seemed to have mixed feelings towards his statement. For those that don't know, when Johnson retired in 2015, the Lions forced him to pay back a 7-figure portion of a $16 million signing bonus that he had received 4 years prior. Guys, they say time heals all wounds. Does Calvin look petty here?
Yes.
I disagree.
Okay, let's hear that.
I disagree. First of all, he made over $100 million. The owner
He needs
is
$1 million.
I'm sorry?
So he needs $1
Well,
million.
this hear me out. Okay, the ownership, they're not counting for any pennies. So it's out of respect. I got 2 names for you. Tony Romo and Marshawn Lynch. When they retired, their owners didn't ask for their money back. I mean, it's a level of respect for your greatest receiver to ever play for your organization.
The only pushback I would say is that 99 they did it with Barry Sanders when he retired.
Right.
So it's been a precedent already set with Detroit that if you retire,
You should learn from it.
But I think Calvin's issue too is more than the money. It's the disrespecting a lot of things that happened while he was there.
Yeah.
So even if they give him that money back, that don't mean that all of a sudden now we in good graces because there's been so much bad blood that I get you want the money, but the relationship, I don't think it'd be mended just with the money.
Nah, I agree.
I'm not normally on the fence, but you guys make great points on both sides. I will say this. don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Like you talking about the $1 million you lost or they made you repay, but they're trying to make you an ambassador in the face of a franchise or in the Billionaires Boys Club. And I just had this conversation with a couple of former players that don't come back to the organization, don't come back to the team, to the rallies. I'm like, because with LA Chargers, I'm an ambassador. I'm like, you come back because I have dinner with billionaires. And it's a great network to just be behind the veil. So for $1 million, a lot of people will pay that to just get in those opportunities. They're encouraging you to do it. They're supporting you. They're excited for you.
Awesome.
I let it go. Let it go.
Time now for Darnell's question of the day. Darnell, take it away.
All right, guys. So I've been doing a lot of reading as of late, trying to just take in as much info as I can. Marcellus, obviously we know you got your book, Never Shut Up.
I mean, bestseller.
Yes, sir. And I'm sure the rest of you guys have done a lot of reading in your day. So I want to ask you, what would you say is a must-read for young people?
For me, it's easy. The autobiography of Malcolm X. If you've never read it, it's a must-read.
Stole one.
On my shelf.
For
read it yet.
You haven't read it? Oh my God, it's a must-read. It's inspirational. The power of faith and the power of redemption, and just you're never out of it. You can be at your lowest point. The world can think you're the lowest person on the earth, but you can elevate yourself, particularly here in America, and become somebody the whole world has to listen to.
One of my favorites I always do is How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. It was written back in the 40s, but it's basically talking about how we as people try to sell things or get people to do things without really knowing what they want. Until you figure out what a person wants, what motivates them, there's no way you can kind of channel and get through what you're trying to sell to them or get out of them. And it's a great book. I gave it to my son when he was in the 8th grade because it's all about relationships with people and how to identify your objective through what that other person wants, because they love to talk about themselves.
Right. Yeah, I have a book called The Four Agreements. It's very simple.
Yes.
It's basically about the basic tenets for life and just being a good person. And I think nowadays we need that. We need to influence people. We need to just be good people, good human beings, and treat people with respect. So that's one of my go-tos.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy growing up, I'm not gonna lie. I got my intelligence from different mediums. I was into TV, way more than book reading.
Exactly.
But Sweet Pickles, if you guys know about that, the hood version of like Sesame Street. Y'all know about Sweet Pickles?
Oh, Sweet
They only
Pickles.
delivered in Compton, I guess. But Sweet Pickles, there's some good lessons in there. Obviously, my book, Never Shut Up. Anything Malcolm Gladwell writes, I'm not gonna lie. But it's so easy of a response, but no lie, he has the most influence over me as a collective, a body of work of books. Blink, all the books that he's written.
D?
All right.
What
ready
you got?
to
You
go,
got anything?
The 10 Signs rule about my guy Grant Cardone is basically tells you that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're doing, if you put more effort and energy behind it, you can reach your goals and make it happen. So,
My man.
All right. He lying.
Okay.
That book lying. You can't fly your way to everything.
Whitlock and Wiley, joined by DeQuell Jackson. All right, let's move to Cleveland, where Odell Beckham Jr. has been hinting that he would finally show up to the Browns minicamp this week after skipping most of the team's voluntary offseason workouts. Last week, Browns coach Freddie Kitchens appears to call out OBJ, saying he had already missed a lot. And our buddy Colin Cowherd, who's been feuding with Baker Mayfield, seems to think Odell's absence has something to do with why the Browns quarterback keeps coming after Cowherd.
This is the story in Cleveland. Baker can take shots at me, so I fall for it and get into arguments with Baker. Not going to get into a Twitter war with Baker Mayfield, but I think he's doing some of this. Hey, look over here. I'm coming after you. He doesn't want us to talk about this. This is a situation in Cleveland.
Is there a problem in Cleveland with Odell and the organization?
Not at all. Not at all. They have to separate the signal from the noise and make sure that they stay focused on what's most important. First of all, love Colin, love Baker. They've been beefing before Odell even got there. So that beef is like deflection by design. Predates Odell Beckham, so I throw that one out the window. If in terms of Odell being there, what did Iverson say? We're talking about practice.
Yeah.
And not required,
Right.
but voluntary practice.
Voluntary.
Practice. And we're going to make this bigger than it is within that organization. Yeah, they're not happy. that Odell's not there, but they're not penalizing him either. I think a lot of people don't know the difference. There are situations in life, I know the combine was one for a lot of players, where you can go there and help yourself, but you're not going to hurt yourself. We got enough room on you, big dog. Right. Odell, if you come here, you can help yourself in terms of some human capital and some good merit around the organization, but you're not going to get penalized in this moment.
Right, and they knew what they were getting. This guy has so many options going on outside of football to generate some sort of revenue. If you really wanted him that bad, incentivize him to be there.
Hello.
Put it in his contract.
Hello.
Other than that, this is where this guy has, you know, he's using his likability around the National Football League. Because when the season starts, guess what? He's undivided to the Cleveland Browns. It's not an issue in Cleveland.
Okay, so you have Odell Beckham Jr., the coach, saying he's missed a lot. He'd prefer for him to be there, blah, blah, blah. But you also have your second-year quarterback, the leader of your football team. I don't get this feud with Cowherd, this bickering publicly with a radio host, a television host. It doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't concern you at all?
He's defending his teammate. It's another way he's defending his teammate, whether we agree with it or not. He's trying to, like Colin said, he's trying to deflect some of the attention away from Odell Beckham. That's what type of guy he is. In the locker room, you probably love it. You love the fact that he's taking the bullets for Odell.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why I think it's a red flag. I'm going to go all the way back to junior high.
Okay.
Again, whenever I jumped in front of somebody else's bullets,
I wouldn't.
And I did it. It's because they were weak. It's like, oh, this is really bothering Odell. Let me jump in here and fight this fight for him. Again, and this is what I've always believed. I don't think Odell Beckham is that mentally strong. And when I look at a quarterback caping up for him and a second-year quarterback, and Odell's been in the league, 5 years? It's a sign of weakness, and it's a red flag.
Let me stay in your example. We used to look at the guy who would jump in front of the bullet for you. We used to always say he's trying to force loyalty. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Because you know what? You can live and we can coexist without you having to die for this moment. Like, I don't think he's going to be a martyr for Odell Beckham. Odell can handle his own issues. In terms of dealing with popularity, Baker Mayfield is getting trumped by Odell and all the issues comes his way. Here's what I really think it is. Baker Mayfield is ready for the smoke. And if there is no smoke, he's going to create some dust.
Absolutely.
And is this the same guy that ran for the police? This is the same guy that's stabbing the field on the opposing team. Same guy grabbing his crouch. Same guy going at Colin. Like, this is somehow a part of his mindset, a mechanism that gets him motivated. You just got in the way of his motivation. But I think that's not a distraction for him. And I think Odell could fight his own fights.
Marcellus, I think you make a great argument. I wonder, though, it worked in college. He is a guy that loves smoke.
Yeah.
Will it work in the NFL?
Yeah, all the guys love him. They love him, clearly. He's a leader. He's proven he can play. That's all that needs to be done. You can prove you can play, and guys will follow you. But I don't think it's an issue in Cleveland.
All right, before we go, I'd like to offer NBA Commissioner Adam Silver a little advice on how to improve his league. Unplug from social media. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook are damaging the NBA. They've taken the focus off the on-court product and turned the association into the league of spectacle. Why do I say that? Because Drake's sideline antics, his bickering with Warriors players, are a storyline during the NBA Finals. Twitter will make you believe this is a good thing. The NBA is so cool that a famous rapper sits courtside and argues with the players. Drake is a groupie doing a bad Spike Lee impersonation. Spike Lee is and was a legitimate New York Knicks fan. Drake is homie the clown who, for the right price, will sit courtside at an AAU game or stand along the sidelines at a Pee Wee football game. But the NBA social media problem goes well beyond Drake. Twitter is the reason Golden State coach Steve Kerr showed up to his post-game press conference in a political T-shirt promoting gun laws. Kerr has swallowed the social media logic that sporting events are the perfect venue to debate America's most polarizing political issues and that there's great value in agitating people who disagree with you. Agitation increases polarization. If agitation changed people's minds or promoted understanding, we would all bicker our way into improved marriages. Someone needs to inform Kerr and the rest of the NBA's T-shirt revolutionaries that it's not 1968 and they're not John Carlos and Tommy Smith. Carlos and Smith faced harsh punishment for using their platform to speak truth to power. The NBA's T-shirt revolutionaries have shoe contracts, live in gated communities, and are celebrated across the internet for completing the Ice T-shirt challenge. The T-shirts come across like propaganda billboards in Cuba. In a year in which the NBA TV ratings have dipped significantly, Adam Silver should remind his employees to keep the focus on the actual game. Iced out rappers, political pontificating, and free agency speculation fuel social media traction. They don't increase interest in the game. All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley here. Time to play You Said What? Last week I said something about Richie Incognito getting a second chance in the NFL that Marcellus wanted to revisit. Take a listen. The entertainment industry doesn't care about the mental health, character, or behavior of its musical, TV, or movie stars. Rock and rollers drink and drug to excess and frequently engage in inappropriate relationships with their young fans. I'm supposed to be outraged that Incognito signed with the Raiders for the veterans minimum? Really? How come? Everyday popular culture and the social media outlets tasked with supporting popular culture tell us to glorify and worship entertainers with criminal personas far more negative than Incognito's. That sounded brilliant to me. What's the problem?
Yeah, look, you're always the best movie star in your own movie, but guess what? You know what's crazy? Athletes and entertainers, we're building two different types of people here, two different animals. We're taught in athletics, sportsmanship, citizenship. There are ethic and moral clauses in our contracts. We're talking about sportsmanship at the youth level, that you got to slap hands with a guy even if you beat him on the field. Good game, good game. But you know what, Whitlock? If you want to go there, it's a whole different animal for entertainers. Entertainers, look, if you get shot, color your hair, tat your face up, get attention any way you can, who cares how you do it? Get arrested. That helps your career at times. That's not the athletic model. The athletic model is about building a whole person that just has this extreme talent in terms of physical ability.
I understand the idea, and I agree with it in terms of that is exactly what athletics are supposed to teach us. But once you inject television cameras and billions of dollars, all you have is a TV show.
Yeah, you have a TV show in product, but you don't have that in person. So guess what? If a football player acted like a rapper, you would say, one, you're not focused. Two, you're not into the game and invested. And then three, you probably will be disciplined to the point where you can't even play.
Antonio Brown.
That's not rapper behavior. When the last time he got shot at? When the last time he tatted his face up? When he got arrested?
He did his mustache. But look, there's, again, I'll go back to my boy Jesse Washington over at the Undefeated wrote a long expose talking about all the problems Antonio Brown has off the field. And some of them are very serious. He threatened to come at my boy.
A lot of allegations.
Jesse,
I give you that. A lot of allegations, a lot of smoke, but at the same time, in general, we're not talking about the same person in terms of their character as an entertainer as we are an athlete. And look, if you want to go the way you want to go with, let's change it. At 9 years old, I ain't walking across the field and shaking little Tommy's hand because he's sorry. I'm saying, whatever, coach, because that's the entertainer model. Entertainer model at the end of the game, at the end of performance, we don't give a damn.
Listen, keep in mind, at the Pee Wee level, the Little League level, hundreds of thousands of kids, if not millions, play football, basketball, baseball, all these deals.
Yeah.
And so you do want to instill those values in them. But when you start getting to professional sports and televised professional sports, and it's the most talented of the most talented. And so if you take those kids that make it to the NFL and you go all the way back, the rules didn't really even apply to them back then. Many of them, because they were so talented and so valuable, got away with all kinds of stuff that the other guys couldn't. So you instill these values in the millions that play sports. And yeah, there's a couple thousand guys that play professional sports, and they're going to play by their own rules.
I hear that, but every time I hang with an entertainer, I'm even jaw-dropped by how they live, how they act, and what they get away with. It's just a different world, man, and I don't want to merge those realities because you're not going to see what you see on the field.
But the money has merged the reality.